Hello, everybody. My name is Mitch, and as you can see, this is not Jamie. Just want to shout out Jamie for letting me come on and do a bit of a solo video on my own and just kind of go over my team, my thoughts, where my head's at heading into Vegas, and then the continuation of TLT 1B next Tuesday, which is really exciting. And yeah, just a bit about me, guys. I know a few of you would have seen me in a few of Jamie's other videos, jumping on with the panel of awesome blokes as well. It's a ton of fun. Like I said, guys, my name's Mitch. I've been playing fantasy for 7 or so years now. Last year I was fortunate enough to finish 21st and 61st the year before. So I work pretty hard at this sort of stuff, and I do take it very seriously as well. Whether or not that's right or wrong, that's up to you. But no, I have a lot of fun doing this sort of stuff. And once again, guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to Jamie for allowing me to jump on, do a bit of a solo video with nobody else, and especially not with him. I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and I'm really excited to talk some footy. Yeah, this will help you guys to get a bit of an insight into somebody else. Where my head's at and how I feel heading into Vegas. A few questionable picks and definitely this team is not set in stone as well. I do want to definitely preface that as well. About 17 of these blokes are pretty safe, and maybe I'll get into that slowly here. But those two edges and a Newcastle fullback are definitely not safe. And a lot of tinkering around with those three positions changed up the side a little bit. But the template is pretty similar. And we'll get into that now with Vegas and who I'm taking over to Vegas, where they're playing and things like that. So a pretty contentious one right off the bat, and I know it divides a lot of people in the fantasy community and in other discords and things like that. Is James Fisher Harris? Now, I will be taking him 100%. I've been a really big Fish guy, Fisher Harris, of course, the whole preseason since the game opened up. I've been really keen on him, and nothing has really swayed me too much. The Warriors bench, I'm not really too fussed about. Coming in at about a 44 break even, all I see personally, guys, is upside. I don't see any downside at all. He's coming over from the best team, potentially ever to the Warriors side, and the Warriors really need him. I'm not really factoring in anything to do with AFB and Tohu and the minutes they played and what they're missing out, etc. I'm not really it plays into Fisher's hand, definitely, but it's not my sole thing on why I'm really keen on him. Um, I think Penrith protected him in a sense. I mean, that may sound a little silly to some, but they've got Isaiah Yo, they've got other guys they're playing big minutes, and Fish, they won 4 comps. Um, Fish is primed and ready to lead this Warriors side, and they're going to need him to, guys. I'm not necessarily expecting 60 minutes from him, but I see his floor of minutes at like 52 personally. Um, he's coming over there. He's the captain of their country for the New Zealand Kiwis, and he's coming over there. He's been made co-captain with Mitch Barnett. The Bash Bros V2 in a sense. And the Warriors are going to really need him to lead from the front, and I believe that's what he's here to do. And with that, comes minutes. And yeah, I can really see Fish playing anywhere from 55 to 58 minutes. And all I see is upside, with his PPM. And you got to remember, guys, too, he's 29. So he's not, on the wrong side of 30. And he's going to a side where their other spiritual leader, Mitch Barnett, is, I believe, 31. He's an Origin representative as well. So, throughout the middle of the season, um, you know, Barney will be off to Origin, and Fish, we know, he steps up during those Origin weeks, and he's going to need to. I really like the Fish pick. I haven't really swayed off him too much. I know Corey Horsburgh, who we will get into pretty soon, has a really nice looking bench. And I think personally, if you've always been interested in Corey, then he's a fine pick. I wouldn't say personally that the bench is something that's going to change my mind on him. This is the exact lineup that I predicted. Obviously, but Matty Nicholson, we've got Simi Sasungi in there, who's like for like in a sense, um, and a dummy half. So I always predicted that Corey was going to start, and this was the bench makeup. So I feel like you can probably only take one of Fish or Corey Horsburgh. They're very similar. Just with the price point, guys, you don't really you want as much flexibility um, heading into the next week's TLT, as you know, you guys would know with other podcasts and Discords and Jamie's videos and things like that. You want to give yourself a lot of flexibility. So if you weren't keen on some of these guys beforehand, I know TLT is very exciting to jump in, and we get green ticks and we get people's names. It's really good to put them in your team and have a bit of fun, but just stick to the process and stick to all of the knowledge you've gained during preseason. It's been a long 3 months, and I've been spruiking fish pretty heavily. So it would kind of be silly of me to not trust my gut and just change last minute. So that's why I'll be taking fish personally. I really like the way he looks. He fits really well into my side at 600K as well. I've had about 13 or 14 serious drafts, and he's been in every single one. I'm really utilizing his 600K very well within my squad, I believe, which you don't have to look at it as in depth like that. That's just what I do. I have really lots of fun doing that. So, if anybody in the comments has any questions as well, feel free to jot them down in the comment section. I'll reply on my own personal account, not Jamie's. I'm sure Jamie and other people will reply, but I'd love to interact on my personal account, and love to answer all your questions about my team. And it is constantly changing, guys. I work a full-time job like all of you, and all day at work, I'm counting numbers, I'm counting players, I'm moving stuff around, and yeah, I put a lot of effort into this. So hope you guys like it, and just hearing my perspective. I know a lot of other people aren't really keen on fish, and that's totally fine. This is just my own thoughts, and it'll be good to hear different opinions. I love a good debate and who's wrong and who's right, and hey, I could be wrong, but yeah. Going over to my other mid here, Isaiah Yo. Pretty stock standard. I won't spend too much time on him. You're either going to take him or you're not. I don't see much value in Yo. He's already priced at like a 64, which is just massive. I'm picking and sticking with him because I can see him as a year-long keeper. With the minor buy change this year, it's a lot less stressful when it comes to Origin players and holding these sort of guys. So I'm looking at Yo, and I'm picking him on round one. He's going to be there till around 27. He might miss some weeks. He'll play low minutes come Origin, but I know he's always going to be there. Safe as houses VC as well. We know Cleary is made out of glue. So if Cleary forever ever goes down, I've got the next best captain in sitting there, and I can trade Cleary out to whatever my team needs. So a lot of people aren't taking Yo. They're taking Haas for 40K cheaper. I think that's also a great strategy. Just with Yo, I know what I'm getting. Penrith lose the guy sitting next to him in my team. And with that, he's going to be needed even more. He can't play many more minutes than what he was last year, but that's not what I'm buying him for. I know what I'm getting with Yo. I'm getting that floor. I'm getting that safe 60. And he can go nuclear as well. He really added an offload to his game last year, which is why he ended up getting that 64 average. He wasn't doing that a few years ago. So I'm not really buying him for the chance that he has 3 or 4 points of value, because he probably doesn't. He can, but he doesn't. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that decision. To know I have Yo all year is very durable. I'm happy with that. Next guys that I'm taking to Vegas in my side is Luke Metcalf. He probably picks himself. Chances are you probably have him in your team as well. He's a really, really good pick. Um, you know, Next to Chanel Harris Tavita, probably a little less exciting than if it was Tamare Martin, but that's fine because it's not Tanner Boyd, and that's the big one. If Tanner Boyd was there, we would throw Metcalf in the bin. He will get goal kicking. He's their seven. He's not going to play like Sean, but he is their seven. Um, and with that, it gets in play kicking. He will get the goal kicking. I see a 44 average roughly for Metcalf, and that's his 10 points. Lock him in. You take him to Vegas. You lock in that half. I think he's a really, really good pick. If something was to happen and Tanner Boyd does come in, well, then we probably do abort. But with that, guys, I don't look at my side for, planning too far ahead. I spoke to Jamie in our first video we ever did together. I don't plan too heavily for the buy rounds. I kind of attack them as they come. And Metcalf, I'm doing a very similar thing. I've seen a few people be a bit weary of Metcalf now that Chanel Harris Tavita is in the side, and he might do a little bit more kicking, and potentially he does. But Metcalf has a lot of value, and he's one of the really solid guys at that 450, 400K price range, which I'm confident in taking. That's what you really want to get right in your side. Round one, it's something that I've always struggled with. Is like I said, guys, I finished 21st last year, but after round one, I was 72,000 and it was horrible. Yeah, it was the worst feeling ever putting all this time into it and having such a rough start. And it was just with the mid ranges last year, this year, I think the strategy of guns and cows, having a lot of top shelf keepers or undervalued, underpriced keepers, and then just going straight cheapies is very doable this year and something that I'm really been trying to incorporate into my side. And I'm just trying to eliminate the amount of 400K price point guys because they do need a lot to go right. You look at your Kelmers, your Piakuras, Metcalf, Davi Moale, these sort of guys, they need a lot to go right to be worth it. And I think Metcalf is the best out of them. As you can see in this current draft, I only have Metcalf. I've had Kelmer, and that's pretty much it. Kelmer definitely can still make my side come next week, but right now I'm happy with this layout. Um, and I'll get into more of that pretty soon. But yeah, Metcalf, he's a jet. Goal kicking, in play kicking, what's not to love? So I really like it. All right, going into my next Vegas player is Tamale, and this is probably my most controversial pick, and a lot different to probably everybody. Is that I'm just straight up going to play him, um, and I'm not worrying about looping or any of that sort of stuff. And I'll get into that soon because it's probably not the right idea, but that's what I'll be doing. Um, so I'll be taking Tamale, like we said in the cash cow video or the 300 to 400K video with Jamie and all those boys. Um, he just has it is a risk, definitely. Ricky Stewart is the most volatile coach in rugby league. Will he be there round two? I believe he will be. Um, he just has a very fantasy relevant game, as you guys would already know, but already know now. I think he averaged 50 in New South Wales Cup on the wing. And by no means am I expecting a 50 average. That's ridiculous. But he's priced at 300K. I think that's like a 22 average or whatever that number is. I see a lot of value in Tamale. He really fits the shape of my team that I want to go with cheap in the outside backs and very top heavy, which I'll get into soon as well. And yeah, he was in my centers for most of the preseason. After the Jack Bird, I did take Jack Bird out. And with him getting the duel last night on TLT day, I've put him into the wing fullbacks, which have allowed me to take out Mark Nawangani just with a bit of risk surrounding him. Still a great pick, and if he's named, someone I still will consider. But going into Vegas, this is how I will best utilize him, I believe. A lot of people have him in that loop slot number 5, where I have Jack Cole, and that's a great strategy too. He comes out, gets a 40, you throw in a Titans half, and happy days. You get the 40, you get to your Brimson or your Campbell, and they're really good picks too. Just with my side, I'll get into it now. If I was to have him in the loop slot, it would really it kind of ruins my template and how I want to go with my side. Because as you can see in my emergencies, I don't have any wing fullback cover, which a lot of people probably already seeing, like, who's this guy? He has no wing fullbacks. Um, and that is true, but Gemmet Shibasaki from the Broncos is not in fantasy yet. And when he comes into the game, he will be around that, I think, 257K I've seen on fantasy statistics or that website. And he will have the duel. It's got the duel on there. He's just not in the game currently. So the picture in my mind is I probably will be moving Jack Gajewski on to him, and just have him in my wing fullbacks. Like I said, guys, it's not perfect, and it's definitely a risk that I'm willing to take, obviously, because it's here and I'm giving it out to you guys. But yeah, so Gemmet Shibasaki will be in my emergencies. He will be named come round one. Katoni Staggs is out for 4 to 6 weeks, and Shibasaki was actually preferred heading into round one over Dean Mariner. So he's got a little bit of a runway there. I'm just going to have him in my, spot 21 and have that wing fullback duel there if I ever need it. Ponga's out round 4. Chances are I potentially bring in a wing fullback by then anyway. But that's just to answer the question about looping Tamale is I don't have another wing fullback. I don't actually have anyone to jump in the loop slot with. If I put Tamale at number five, I have to bring in a whole new wing fullback, which is probably a good idea, obviously, right? But not for the way I want to roll with my team. And I definitely will get into that. So yeah, Tamale, I think his ownership has doubled since he got named, which is fair enough. A massive reserve grade statistics. Look, if he doesn't hold the spot, it's a mistake. But I see clear upside. I'm not expecting him to average 50, but if he can average mid 30s at low floor, I'm happy with that. And wing fullback, if I can get these low scores at a Stafford Toa, if they're named Robert Toya, Jackson Purdue, I'll happily take that. I do like to spend pretty cheap in my wing fullbacks, and yeah, I'll get into that pretty soon. So next is Jack Cole. And yeah, I will be taking Cole personally. I know we've talked about it on the other videos about the amount of halves we have and the amount of cashy halves and cashy centers, but I think Jack Cole is a risk worth taking, and it's round one. If you're going to take a risk, it is round one. So Jack Cole averaged 33 last year, but he comes into the game at 250K. So yeah, it's not really too much to argue about on me. Blaze Talangi is sitting there, coming off a shoulder Rico. Is it his spot? Down the line potentially. I expect Blaze Talangi to be there in 6 weeks or however long it takes to get him there. But that's kind of irrelevant because we have Jack Cole starting at 250K. In the best team in the comp, arguably, whether or not you want to say that or not. But yeah, he doesn't have to do a lot for those points as well. He makes a lot of tackles for a 5'8", that Dylan Brown mold where he makes 25, 28 tackles a game, and that's where he gets his stats. He doesn't have a lot of kicking meters, and that's fine because he's next to Cleary. Cleary will be doing all that. But yeah, I really like Cole. Lock in a cheapie now as well. We've got Sandon, we've got Purdue, Shibasaki. We have a lot of cheapies, Tom Duffy and the like. So I'm not too worried about that. If someone comes up that I don't want, I'm happy to take Cole, and I think Cole's a really good looping option as well if you can afford that. Me personally, I won't be because I'm not taking any Titans, which I don't think will change. Like I said earlier, my team definitely probably will change, but it will be a few, 2 to 3 changes potentially with the edges and Mr. KP, but nothing else should change. Everybody else will be staying. Cam Munster, these sort of guys. So, um, yeah, I'll kind of start from the top as well. A lot of other people probably want to know why I've gone with who and why I've picked him and so on. So, few guys I won't spend too much time on. Mamazoulis, everybody's got him. If he's, picked up a little niggle in the trial or whatever that is, if he's not there, we're all going to be in the same boat, trying to fill that position. So won't spend too much time on him. Terrell, must have, guys. Get him in. He's probably in your side already, which is good. So get him in. Not really much else to say. Similar to Connor Watson, Alex Seyfarth, these guys have all been in my side pretty much every draft. Um, Watson, I love with the duel. We'll get the duel come round one. My preferred hooker, Alex Seyfarth, guys, we'll get the duel as well. Really handy and averages pretty close to 50 on the edge. So we know that spot here. That spot is his. Um, so yeah, not really much else to say on that. Chances are you guys have probably got him in your team as well. Cam Munster is a really, really diverse one as well. A lot of people are off him. A lot of people are on him. I haven't really swayed as well, and that's something that I'm really trying to do heading into round one is trust my gut. The injuries are definitely a concern. I'd be lying if, we said we hadn't thought about them. But Cameron Munster under 600K gives me really big Jamal Fogarty vibes from last year. He had a hamstring injury last year, didn't play the trials, blah blah blah, and I didn't sway off that at all, and it happened to be a really good move. And I'm treating Munster the same. I know we have a plethora of halves. I do know that absolutely, but Munster under 600K is just I wouldn't say a gold mine, absolutely not, and he's definitely not a must-have. I really like the look of him at that price. It's obviously has the buy round two. I am not even remotely worried about that. Get it out early I'm yeah, not fine, not too worried about the buy. It's more about people not taking him, thinking they can pick him up in round three if he looks good. Of course, he's going to look good, guys. It's Cam Munster. You know, they're playing the Eels round one in Melbourne. Craig Bellamy doesn't lose round one typically. Hasn't since I've been born, pretty much in the last 25 years or however much it is. Um, so I would not be surprised if he comes out, puts on a clinic against the Eels. They win. And he has a really, really good game. And then people will be trying to pick him up from round three onwards when he looks good or passes the eye test potentially. But with that is chances are Munster we won't be holding all year. I'll just be honest. You know, he's probably down the line in the pecking order when it comes to halves. So, you know, if you bring him in round three, round four, whenever he's, you know, you're happy with how he's performing, um, you know, you're essentially using two trades on him because you will be taking him out. Now, obviously, um, you're going to get the cash gains if he's playing really well. If he averages 52 and you pick him up at 615K, you're still going to make your 100K. In my mind, I'm just thinking like, okay, I want him. I'm going to want him anyway. By round two, I'm not worried. I'm going to not use the trade on him in my head in round three or four. I'm just going to start with him. Um, and I'm happy with doing that. You know, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I know we have a ton of halves. You know, squad composition and depth is really, really important. And as you can see, it's probably one thing that this current iteration is failing on a little bit, but I'm not really too worried. We get, you know, 1,000 trades. So if something pops up, I can make a trade. You know, the goal is obviously to not do that in certain situations, but Munster I'm taking and I'm happy with it. So get into the rest of the side. I won't really dive too much into the cheapies because we don't really know yet. Everybody's emergency pretty much looks the same, give or take. So we don't really need too much comment on that. Centers again, I'm going with the cheap centers. So Rob Toya gets the spot. I'm pretty sure he will be there. So I'm going to lock him in as a playing center. Happy with that. You know, even if they average 30 guys, they're going to make their 100 and 150K. And I'm happy to cop 30s, mid 30s from a center. It's a tough position. You know, instead of spending up on Dylan Lucas, I'm just going to take the 30s, take, you know, what I can get and really build up elsewhere. That's how I've really always played. And that's what I've done in the past few years to be really successful. So everybody's different, but that's just the way I kind of operate. Stafford Toa, you know, a bit of a placeholder there. We are pretty confident he gets the spot with Brent Hayden and Justin Olam having issues going on. So I'm just locking him in there. Had a wretched year last year with injuries in his three games, but you know, he's normally like a mid-30s guy. So I'm happy for that if that's what we get. And the Tigers should improve. So he looked really good in the trial as well. So um, Iongi, everybody's got him, pretty similar to Mamazoulis. You just play him. Yeah, not too fussed with that. The big thing that I want to kind of have a bit of a deep dive in is my edges and Mr. Kalen Ponga, because this is where my team will change or potentially change. So in the best case scenario, I have Hopgood, Preston, and Ponga, but I can't do that by about 3K or so. So, you know, you see Bateman there for now. Um, yeah, he's a bit of a placeholder at the moment. He's been in a lot of my drafts, but I'm not too keen on him after seeing what I saw in the trial. I know it's just a trial, and that's my advice for everybody is it's just a trial, guys. But you know, it gets the best of us. But yeah, you know, Hopgood, Bateman, and Ponga. I can get Ponga down to Ruben Garrick and have Hopgood and Preston and have about 90K spare, which is tempting. And then leave that money in the bank for, you know, round two or whatever it is. Or there's Ponga, Preston, and Bateman. You know, those three. It's Ponga or Garrick. I'm yet to decide. Luckily, I don't need to make that decision this week. And then the two edges will be Hopgood, Preston, you know, Bateman, one of those three. So yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum and something I'll figure out. Like I said, I don't need to make that decision now, which is, you know, this is just currently what it is and what I've been leaning with. I like Ponga, you know, I think he will average, you know, 57, 58 this year. But with gunwing fullbacks, guys, we can always, always, always get them cheaper. We can always get them cheaper. Ponga, you know, has a really good floor because he does kicking, he goal kicks. but there's a really, really good chance that we can pick Kalen Ponga up for 690k, 680k after his bye. There's a chance he could explode. He has a really, really good draw to start the year, which is what is tempting to me. But there's a chance that Ponga does go under 700k because all wing fullbacks do, guys. It's just naturally the start of the year. It's a pretty low scoring position. And with Garrick, I can really get those big dogs, which I can get a Hopgood, I can get a Preston, and leave that extra money in the bank. Maybe I put Seyfarth in the edge and move him up to a Payne Haas or something for a bit of fun come round two TLT. Um, but yeah, that's just currently where my squad's at. Like I said, guys, it's all pretty much the same as most of yours. A really key assortment of guys. It's just Hopgood, the edge position, and then Kalen Ponga or Ruben Garrick. I won't be taking any Titans. I'm not really interested in Brimson. I know he has a gun average at 5'8", but he's not for me. I do like Campbell, but again, the round one buy is a really good thing, but my team just isn't really. I'm not kind of sorting my team to that round one buy, as in looping and sort of stuff. If I swap Ponga for Campbell, then I have to have a wing fullback there to, loop or add in. Maybe it's Mark Nwangani Tawaze, round one B, but for now, I won't be taking any Titans players. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much my team and my thoughts. I put a lot of effort into this sort of stuff, and so does Jamie, and so do you guys too. I'm sure, everybody wants to win, and if you're in cash leagues or whatever you're in, it's the exciting time of the year. This is just sort of where my head's at and how I think about these sort of things. And the team will pretty much be as is. It's just those three changes and who I end up going with. Vegas is locked in. Fisher Harris is a Jet. He's scoring 58 this week. So give or take. But no, that's my team, guys, and my thoughts. Like I said earlier, feel free to jump in the comments, ask any questions or whatever you've got for me, and I'll reply on my own account. Maybe Jamie will or someone else, but I'll jump in and have a bit of a combo with it. See what you guys can cook up, and if you have any questions about my team or anything else, let me know. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to be jumping on this year with Jamie, and I'll probably be doing this once a week, I think, of a Monday night, Tuesday night. Go through where my team went right, what went wrong, what happened, potential trades, what I think. It's going to really help me be better as well. I've been watching Jamie do this stuff for a few years now, listening to a few other podcasts. I'm in every podcast. I'm always listening, so I have a fair idea of what's going on, but yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. If you stayed to the end, I had lots of fun and yeah, can't wait to jump in again. Thanks, guys.